Hello, everybody. I'm Brandon with ApplicantStack. I'm an account manager. We'll welcome you all to our Ask Me Anything. We have a very small crew today, but we welcome you anyway. I am joined by our two other direct account managers, Carol Kennedy and Ellen Benzine, and we're really grateful to have you. So our topic today is about posting job listing postings and best practices for Indeed. And so we'll go ahead and give it a couple more minutes. We have, it looks like, one attendee, and we'll just give it a couple more minutes, as is our custom, to see if any stragglers will be showing up, and then we'll go ahead and get started. All right, I see Ashley is one of our attendees. Ashley, I'm going to go ahead and unmute you. We might be able to do this webinar a little bit differently today, since it's just you, and make it a little more personal. Ashley, can you respond and see if we can hear you?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, perfect.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good. What company are you with, Ashley?
I'm with Home Instead
Okay, great. And you're located where?
in State College, Pennsylvania.
Okay, great. So I'm going to just go ahead and address this to you. Oh, we're getting a couple others in here, but so that's good. I'm just going to go ahead and start off with our presentation. And again, we're talking about Indeed today. This is what I'm going to present is based on my little bit of experience with ApplicantStack, and then also experience working on your side of the fence, managing a home care company and assisted livings, and really being in the trenches with the recruiting process. It can be really challenging. We understand that. So can everyone see my screen? I'm going to assume that's a yes. So we're here at the Indeed website, and this shows their support center. And I wanted to just touch on a couple pieces of what Indeed's terms of use are. What are their rules for their platform? And I would just put a caveat onto this that, of course, the experts on Indeed's platform are the Indeed people, and they have account managers that are there to help you. And so as a best practice, I always encourage my clients, the people that I support, I always encourage them to develop a relationship with their Indeed account rep. And if you don't know who that is, you can put in a support ticket and ask for someone to reach out to you, and you'll be able to connect. Now, some of the most common things that come up with Indeed listings is what's put in the job description or the title, is posting to multiple locations, and some of those things that happen when we're trying to improve the response of our ads. So one of the rules that's often I see broken, it has to do with writing effective job descriptions and job titles. So I deal with Home Instead a lot. With Home Instead, we're always hiring caregivers. And so the caregiver job is the one that's most popular. And so oftentimes I'll see job descriptions that say something like immediately hiring caregiver in-home, $16 an hour, $500 sign-on bonus in College Station. That's the job title. So Indeed talks about here that they do not like that. They want the job title to reflect something that would be the headline of a resume or a section of a resume. So what job did you have in the past? I was a caregiver. And so that's something that's important to Indeed. Now, you might see yourself, other companies breaking those rules. And that's a criticism of Indeed, that sometimes they're not always consistent enforcing their own rules. So I'm just the messenger here today. That's something that does come up. And if people break the rules with Indeed, sometimes their accounts get penalized a little bit. All right, so now I'm going to switch over to ApplicantStack. Get to my So, of course, we at ApplicantStack, we have a bit of a bias, but there's a reason for it. We do think that using ApplicantStack to list the jobs is the best way to do it. Indeed does have some of their own tools to manage applicants, but Indeed isn't the only dog in town. It's important to be able to diversify and put our job listings on other platforms. And so when we do that, we can use ApplicantStack to have a central place for all those applications to flow so that we can then manage them and manage the hiring process. So we post jobs by first creating the job. I have here, as an example, I have an actor job here for Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm going to click on that. And once the job is open, then we can go ahead and launch it, and we do that from the Launch tab. Now, in the Launch tab, we'll see the various job boards that we can post our job to. One of those is our internal job board, the one that ApplicantStack hosts for you, and that's what this public job board is. And then we have the third-party job boards here. We have JobTarget, Google for Jobs, Indeed organic postings, and LinkedIn. And so for those of you who don't know, the organic postings, those are the free listings that Indeed supports. And they are based on when you list the job. So the day you list it, you're going to get more eyes on it because it's a new job. And as time goes on, it's going to start to drop in the search results as other people post their jobs. So obviously Indeed makes their money off of sponsorship. So we want to talk about how to sponsor a job. So in order to sponsor on Indeed, we first need to post it to the organic postings. And so once the job is created and open, then we can go here and edit the launch status and select which job boards we want that job to go to. And so for today's example, I'm just going to go ahead and select all of these, and we just do next. And then we're given an option of specifying the job title and which location we're going to post it to. And I click next. And once I submit this, then that job is going to be launched. Now, there is a bit of a wait time on Indeed from when we push it out to them until it actually shows up. It can be anywhere from 4 to 8 hours before it's live. So just keep an eye on it. But once it goes live, you'll also see inside ApplicantStack on the Launch tab that this text right here that I'm highlighting will change from gray to blue. It'll become a blue link that you can click on. And so when you do that, unfortunately, I can't demonstrate it because Indeed doesn't let me have a demo account to showcase their stuff. But if I were to click on this, it would bring a pop-up for me to sign in to Indeed. And then I would just sign in with my employer credentials. And as long as I have a credit card on file and everything with my Indeed account is set up, then I would be able to sponsor the job. And I would do that by clicking here. And when I do that, I get an interface where I can define what type of campaign I want, whether it's a one-time campaign, say maybe for a week, I want to spend $500 in a week because I really need to do a push right now. Or maybe you want to do a reoccurring campaign and just continually sponsor jobs on Indeed over the course of the year. You might want to set up a reoccurring monthly campaign. So for those campaigns, you can set a budget, and Indeed dynamically adjusts where you show up in the listings in order to get the eyeballs on your ad so that you're getting what you pay for. Okay, now I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about some of these best practices and how we can make our job improve, even aside from sponsoring, but how we can make our listing really stand out. So I'm going to go to Indeed as a candidate. I'm going to open up a new tab. And here we're looking at, I'm looking for jobs by the company Home Instead in Salt Lake City, Utah. And so these jobs may be coming from ApplicantStack, or they could be coming from somebody posting directly to Indeed. And so we want to talk about how those might look differently and how we can create parity between those two jobs so they perform equally well. So this job here is the first one, and I do know that this one was posted on Indeed. They didn't use ApplicantStack to launch this job. So we can see here that there's some green highlighted items at the top of the job. Now, what those are coming from are my preferences as a candidate. So when I set my candidate profile, I said what wage I wanted. I said whether I wanted full-time or part-time. I said whether I wanted Monday through Friday or any other number of types of schedules. And then this employer here, they also put those same, what I call tags, in their job description. And so when Indeed finds that I as a candidate match up with this job, they're going to highlight those tags in green as a match. And so that will also improve your search results so that, Indeed's found a job that is like my preferences. And so obviously they're going to present that to me higher up so that I can see it. Now these tags are put in by the Indeed program, right? So the job description itself is down here, but Indeed has found that some of those bits of information that they create the tags from are very important to candidates to see, and so they pull them out of the job description and put them in here and do their matching, etc. So far, I want to stop for questions, and I'm just going to unmute Ashley and Jennifer's lines. So we don't need to use the question box today because it's a very small group. Let's see here. All right, Ashley and Jennifer, I've unmuted you both from my end. So if you want to speak, go ahead and unmute yourself and ask any questions you'd like.
I don't know that this is Ashley.
Hi, Ashley.
I don't have any immediate questions. Just to kind of give you an idea of how we're posting. So we post jobs on through ApplicantStack launch, but I don't currently sponsor them directly through ApplicantStack. Like we use the ApplicantStack jobs to like inorganically go to Indeed, but then we just go directly to our Indeed page and create new jobs and sponsor jobs separately on Indeed then.
Okay, great. And so tell me about why you choose to do it that way.
So one, because we weren't obtaining enough applications just from initially sponsoring on like through ApplicantStack.
Okay.
But the reason we do it separately on Indeed is because we use Paradox. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Olivia by Paradox, the AI system. And when we post jobs directly on Indeed, we can set it up that the candidates apply directly through our Paradox system where they would automatically be contacted by our AI system.
I see. Okay, great. So there's a couple things there that just to understand. So obviously, if you're posting an organic job from ApplicantStack, and then you're sponsoring a job inside Indeed, that sponsored job is gonna cannibalize the one coming from ApplicantStack, and that's okay. Just want you to be aware. And then I don't know. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I often question that, how much are these different things being seen? Um, we still are getting activity directly through ApplicantStack as well as activity directly through our Indeed sponsored ads.
Yeah.
I will tell you, we've really been struggling here to obtain applications. So we have just basically are putting it all out there, trying to figure out how to attract people, and so we felt that it was necessary to be posting on both, in both ways.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, no, that's great insight. And yeah, I understand a lot of people are struggling, especially in this space. The caregiver space is just really hard. So, so again, and Ashley, to touch on your point, we're looking here. I believe both of these listings are from the same franchise. Actually, I didn't ask their permission to use them as an example.
It's okay.
But
I searched for it myself and found it.
but you can see how the job appears a little bit differently, right? So these tags really dress it up. And we have the apply now button, so it's easy to apply. Now this job here came from ApplicantStack. It's only got 3 tags. It's got some for benefits, so that's good. But it's just not as visually appealing, but it's also not as appealing to the algorithm because there's not as many matches, okay? So what I like to teach people, at least so that they can have the option if they choose to, because it doesn't offend me if you post directly to Indeed. I just want to help any way I can. So, but to create parity between these two, you would want to create a bulleted list in your ApplicantStack job, and then Indeed's algorithm will pick up those items as a tag.
Okay.
So let me switch over. I think there's another, I think Anchorage is an example that was successful, but that had success by doing this. Let's see here. All right, yeah, so Anchorage, this job came directly from ApplicantStack. And they have 6, 7 tags that are matching. And so that process you can duplicate. You can get parity with the algorithm just by formatting your job description in the correct way. And so they've done that by putting the wage in the job description. They've listed these different types of shifts. They've listed both full-time and part-time. Now I understand that the ApplicantStack interface asks for you to select whether it's part-time or full-time. Actually, it doesn't really matter if you put it in the job description. And so by enumerating all these different things, their algorithm picks it up, puts it at the top, and improves the search results.
Okay. I
So,
do have a question. So that's great information. That I mean, we try to include as much of that information in the job description, but I'm not certain if we have it set up exactly, in that manner that it's going to the algorithm's going to pick it up. Do you think it matters if we would have a job posting in ApplicantStack and then basically duplicate that on Indeed? Would that be too conflicting? Like if I'm posting a job in ApplicantStack, should I have a different job description and setup for the job that I post on Indeed?
Well, my recommendation is no. My recommendation is that you not duplicate it. If you're going to be like, if you have this paradox thing that's working for you, I don't know, my colleagues might cringe when I say this, but if that's working for you and you want to keep that and continue posting directly to Indeed, I would actually take the job from ApplicantStack down, because I wouldn't want those jobs to compete against each other. I would want them all to go to the same place, because you're paying for clicks, you're paying for eyeballs. Right. And if someone in your ApplicantStack job and they apply there, and then they also apply for your Indeed job, then you just paid for something you didn't need to pay for.
Right.
Also, ApplicantStack or excuse me, Indeed doesn't like it when we post multiple jobs. They can detect when we've simply altered the job description. And there's areas where, you know, only 5 jobs show up, but there's actually 30 jobs there. And Indeed has actually basically folded those jobs into one another to create less confusion for the applicant. I think Pennsylvania might be an example. But it was, I want to say it was Pittsburgh. Oops, I didn't spell that right. 2 P's, 2 T's. There we go. All right. So yeah, so here in Pittsburgh, all the jobs from Homestead within a 25-mile radius of Pittsburgh, there's 76 jobs. So as an applicant, that's pretty overwhelming. Now, if I were to take out Homestead and just say caregiver, there's probably 1,000, right? So here is a job that was posted directly to Indeed. This one was too. So those are going to show up first, and they're going to cannibalize anything coming from ApplicantStack. This one looks like this may have come from ApplicantStack. Again, there's not as many tags, but it's a totally different job description. Now, let's see, I must have been on this page before. So usually what happens is this will say 76, but then only 8 jobs show up. And you scroll to the bottom of the list, and there's a little note from Indeed that says, hey, there's 76 jobs, but we're only showing you 8 because 68 are very similar, and so we're not showing them to you. Click here if you want to see them. And my assumption is most job seekers don't bother to look at those. So posting too many times, duplicating it, Indeed picks up on that, and kind of they take away our ability to do that anyway, which makes a lot of work for us if it's not going to give us any benefit.
What is your suggestion for the number of jobs that we should have posted? And let me give you a little background specifically on my territory. So our office is in State College. It's one of several counties that we cover. Right now, pretty much all of our needs are in State College. So we're not necessarily seeking caregivers outside of this immediate area right now. We've really struggled to find out or figure out what the right fit is. I have cut back on our number of jobs because I was also worried that they were just competing, and I've been told about the Indeed hiding jobs, and I know in our territory, the caregiver position, there's a ton of agencies, facilities, and everybody searching for caregivers as well.
Yeah.
Did you have insight on like what's the appropriate number of jobs to have posted if right now basically State College is where we need to hire?
I would have 1 for State College.
Just 1?
1. Yep. And I would include it. So I developed let me see if I can find it. I didn't think to prepare this ahead of time, but let me see if I can pull up this file. I created kind of an example job description, and it's just for illustrative purposes. I wouldn't copy and paste it, but let me see here. Well, I'll just talk through it then. But yeah, so one of the practices I've seen, Ashley and Jennifer, is for folks to post a different listing for a different targeted audience. So, you know, Homestead hiring students or hiring nursing students, and then another job says, you know, caregivers wanted who are newly retired or something like that. So they're targeting different types of people. or stay-at-home mom who's tired of staying at home. I don't know.
Exactly.
And so I would suggest folding those all into one job, call it caregiver or in-home caregiver, and then just create a section in your job listing that addresses those different types of people. So a paragraph that says, you put a headline on it that says, here's the types of people that we've found successful at this job, and you do a bulleted list of folks who are newly retired who want a part-time job, students who are looking to become nurses, CNAs who work in a nursing home who are tired of being in a facility, and you just enumerate them like that. Now, we all know that a lot of job seekers are frankly kind of lazy, and they only read the first couple sentences, click through and apply, and they move on to the next one. So I can't say with any hard data if that's going to do anything, but I do think having one job where you're focusing your energy there, and then just adding the variables into the job description could be helpful. What are your thoughts about that, Ashley and Jennifer?
Well, I will say I am all about like trying things. I've been in this role for over 6 years, and the first year that I started here looks very different than what recruitment looks like now. I mean, we were easily pulling in 80 to 100 applications a month, and on occasion, we're somewhat getting close to that now. Unfortunately, we're attracting a ton of out-of-country applications. So basically, a third of the applications we're getting are unviable candidates, just right off the bat. So the trends, we have changed the way we've recruited. Pre-COVID, we never had to sponsor on Indeed. Like that wasn't a thing. We could attract people just from ApplicantStack. So it's a scary thought having just one job, but it's something I would be willing to try and see if it makes any difference.
Yeah.
Like right now,
the big question of how much do we spend, right? That's a difficult question to answer. It's a tricky question, but I'll just tell you my experience when I ran a home care in Salt Lake. I was, trying to keep to about $100 a week on my budget with Indeed, and we weren't getting the candidates we needed.
Yeah.
And at the same time, we were getting lots of calls for people who needed care. And I asked my team to start tracking the people that we had to turn down, and it turned out to be about $4,000 a week in revenue that we were turning away.
Yeah.
Just guaranteed. I mean, a lot of these folks had called 5 other home cares before they called us, and they just told us out the gate, hey, I need somebody for my mom next week. I've already been told no by 4 places. Do you have anyone available? Well, we don't. So when I saw that we were turning down about $16,000 a month in revenue, suddenly 500 a week didn't sound too bad to pay for Indeed, or 1,000 a week. Those are just conversations to have, and of course you don't have to commit to it forever. If you started spending $2,000 a month on Indeed and saw no change, well, you're out a little bit, but at the end of the day, that's not going to do anything for you.
Right. Yeah. Right now we have 6 jobs posted on Indeed right now for just the general caregiver Center County area, which would be State College and some surrounding towns. So yeah, I mean, that's something I'm willing to try, to close those down. And
and I'm looking at college, so it says there's 17 jobs listed, and as you mentioned before, you knew that this happens, but there's 12 that aren't even showing on the search results because they're too similar, and they're also for home instead. So
yeah.
I'd like to invite Carol and Ellen to add any thoughts to this conversation if you're still there and have any thoughts about what we've discussed.
I'm still here. This is Ellen. And you're more focused in the Indeed sponsorship than I am, Brandon. But I just wonder if you post one job and it's caregiver. You know, some caregivers are more interested in nighttime or weekends or during the week. So should you break out those jobs based on shifts, or have you still seen more success based on just posting one job and then maybe asking, those candidates questions about their preferences?
Well, I think that I admit that a lot of my advice is anecdotal. I wish Indeed opened up their algorithm and let us, have more insight into that, but they don't, because they want us to spend money there. And
of course.
But my thinking is that if there's a way to capture that different niche interest, say weekend people,
right?
If we can capture that in one job, I would do it. And we so the tags support weekend availability. They support evenings. They support overnights. So if I search for, let's just see how you do here, Ashley. If I search for caregiver weekend, so this job title, at least from what I'm seeing, it doesn't say weekend in the job title, but it does say, it says no weekends and weekends only. So they're offering both. This is the practice they're doing,
They're covering everything.
Covering everything. And just from the appearance of the job, this may very well be something coming from an applicant tracking software like ApplicantStack. So this one too, yeah, they're covering everything.
Wow.
So I get down here, I'm not seeing anything from Homestead yet, sorry.
No, that's interesting.
But there are 20 jobs that are being hidden, so let's click there and see if anything shows.
I trust we're somewhere in there.
Independence.
I will say with one job posting, you're not getting the same candidate apply for multiple jobs.
Right.
Yeah, so that can simplify things.
I could narrow my search radius here. Is the location in your jobs, Ashley? Is it College Station?
State College, yeah.
Or State College?
State College, and then I have some other surrounding towns listed.
Okay, so I put weekend, take that away. All right, if I just do caregiver in State College, but I want to do a smaller radius, so 5 miles, there's 72 jobs. Bright Star, Homestead, there's one. That's third, fourth, that's not too bad.
Yeah, but we want to be first. And we are many times when I do a search, so this is a little disappointing, but yeah, I opened that job, that Bollesburg one, yesterday, so.
All right. Well, I hope that gives you some insight, some things to chew on. The other piece that I have actually heard from Indeed is, excuse me, is when Indeed Apply is highly effective to use because the candidate has already put their information in their Indeed profile, and it's just a couple of clicks to transfer that information either to your Indeed account or to your applicant tracking software like ours. But when candidates get redirected to a company site like this, they found that there's a precipitous drop-off in folks who complete the application. So that might be worth exploring too, where if, you could have the one that's linked to Paradox and then one that's linked to ApplicantStack and just run with those two and see if you see a difference. If you get more volume from ApplicantStack, then maybe something with this AI chat is not working the way you hoped it would.
Oh, that's a good idea. Just doing one through Indeed Apply and then the other one directed to Paradox.
Right.
Okay.
This is Carol, the recruiter muse kicking in. We've been focusing kind of on Indeed, but are there any other local places where candidates might be? You're near Penn State, right?
We are, yes.
Would that be an option? I'm just trying to think through,
We do. Yeah, so we have a job posted on, it's called the Nittany Lion Careers page.
Okay.
We also thankfully have direct connections to the nursing program, the BBH program. So we really do have great connections with Penn State. We have some local technical schools around that provide classes to both like high school students as well as adults. So we have jobs posted on all of their sites. We use our local career link and have jobs posted there. And these are all free jobs, just direct connections with all of these different organizations.
Okay. Sounds like you've got that covered.
Yeah, you know what you might want to bring up, Brandon, or show is manual posting links. Just as an option, I don't know if you use these or not, Ashley. Manual posting links are automatically created on a per job basis by ApplicantStack for each job, and Brandon's showing them now. And do you use these at all, manual posting links?
Yes, you mean like copying the apply online link and Yep.
And excellent. And you include those in all those postings and those sites you were just mentioning?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. Go Nittany Lions, by the way.
Yeah, they're all right.
Agreed.
It's spring break right now, so we're really loving the area right now because it's barren.
Yeah, I bet. A lot of people don't know about manual posting links, so kudos to you for using them.
Yeah. Thankfully, we have. I mean, I've been here 6 years, but we have been like closely connected with ApplicantStack over the years. Previously with Jeff Krause, and everyone's always been wonderful, and answered our questions, really helped us utilize it to the best that we can. So I definitely appreciate that. I do have a quick question, if you don't mind me asking, about the premium texting, because we are currently paying to use that. And I do have one job that is set up with that, but I just don't feel like I am making the most of it. So I wasn't sure. Like I've posted it on our Facebook page, text to apply. And I mean, there's some other places where I could put it, but what more do you encourage people to do to make that that piece like more effective?
I can touch on that. So the text to apply is really helpful in the physical space. If you're advertising online anywhere, even social media, Facebook, the most user-friendly way to apply would just be to tap on a link.
Right.
Ask them to, go back to your text messages and text this number. That might not be the greatest, but the physical space can really help. Where sometimes you maybe vinyl lettering on the back windshield of your car, or a sandwich board out on the sidewalk in front of your office, or a banner on your storefront, anything like that, where somebody's walking by, driving by, and they see this phone number and they just text the keyword, that can get the application in front of them easily. So I don't know if, like at the university, there's if you're doing any like physical space advertising, bulletin boards or banners or anything like that, But that's where I see text to apply really being helpful. And the second place I see it being really helpful is with existing employee referrals. So if you're running a campaign with your current employee base, hoping for them to refer their friends or for their family, then I feel like using the text to apply is a lot better than sending those current employees an email and asking them to forward it, or asking them to copy and paste a link. I think the text to apply is a lot easier to disseminate that info.
That's a good idea. I was just thinking about sending out a text to all of our care pros to encourage them to refer a friend because we have a good, a good referral program, and we haven't had a lot of referrals lately. So
yeah, and some folks when they're advertising in the physical space, you might see them using QR codes a lot.
yeah.
So that's another way to do that. But then again, if you're driving, maybe trying to get your phone to stabilize on the QR code, it might not work, or some people aren't that great using their phone to pull up a QR code. So there's just lots of options. There's no reason you couldn't do both. The other thing that a lot of home instead users say is they've expressed frustration to me about having to manually input an application when a candidate has actually shown up to their office and said, hey, I want to fill out an application. And so their process is to hand them a clipboard with a paper application, fill this out, and then the recruiter goes and puts the application into ApplicantStack later. And so in that kind of scenario too, you could use text to apply, where you invite them to sit down on the couch and text this code word, text caregiver to this number, and then that application link will show up on their phone and they can just do it there.
That's a good idea. Okay, well, I appreciate that. I just, like I said, we have it, and I use it in some ways, but I just wasn't sure what more I could do to better utilize it.
Jennifer, do you have anything to add to this conversation? Do you have any questions?
No, I don't have any specific questions. I just really enjoy listening to everybody else's questions, and the information you give is always very helpful.
Okay, good. All right, Carol Ellen, do you have anything else you want to throw in?
The only thing I have to add is the webinar, Brandon, on March 28th.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so on March 28th, we're really excited about this. It's been in the works for months. We actually get to hear from the horse's mouth. We have a guest speaker from Indeed who is going to be presenting a 4-hour webinar to our users. And so, hopefully you found some value today. I know not all of it's completely authoritative, but I think it's still helpful and healthy to share ideas and talk through some of the challenges we're facing. So on this webinar with Indeed, we'll be able to speak to Indeed directly and ask questions about best practices and those kind of things. And so we hope you'll join us, and we hope you'll spread the message, and we'd love to have a really good attendance for that.
And Brandon, Lauren just put the link to that webinar in the chat.
Oh,
so yes, so you'll be able to register immediately if you want to go ahead and do that.
Yeah, that definitely sounds great because, clearly, we use both platforms regularly. ApplicantStack is the hub of recruitment for us. But, just with the area that we're in, we definitely need to utilize Indeed. And I knew you had mentioned about connecting with your rep. We've definitely struggled to find our rep. Every time I try and reach out, I'm told that, oh, I'm not your rep, but I can try and help you. And so we've kind of stopped reaching out to them unless we're in dire need of something. I feel like we're in a fairly good place, but it will be nice to have this conversation with both parties together.
Yeah, I've seen our users have had really good luck with them. The only challenge we faced where we kind of don't see eye to eye with Indeed, and I don't think it's a I don't think it's a territorial thing. I just think it's a lack of understanding. And that is the reps are trained to help you post your job or sponsor your job within Indeed. And that's fine. Again, I don't care. My feelings aren't hurt. But when users then call us and say, how come my jobs aren't flowing into ApplicantStack? Isn't that what it's for? Then I have to explain, well, the process you use, those jobs are going to, excuse me, those candidates are going to stay within Indeed. They're not going to transfer to ApplicantStack unless you launch from ApplicantStack and sponsor from ApplicantStack.
Yeah.
So share the link with friends and family. Although we will be having a marketing campaign as well, so you'll be getting other opportunities to register. And I suspect it will also be in the announcement section on your ApplicantStack homepage. And if it's not, it should be. So so grab the link and go ahead and register.
Sounds great. I will definitely pass it on to some of my colleagues. We do have a couple offices that are managed, by the owner of the State College office. So we all kind of work together. The rest of them weren't able to join today's, but I'll definitely pass this link on to them so they can prepare in advance for that.
And if you do end up making any changes to your process and you see success, let us know. I mean, I only want to pass on good information to other users. So if it works, I'd love to know. If it doesn't work, I don't want to know. I do think it doesn't work. I don't want to be giving you bad information.
Now, I am kind of excited to try this. Like I said, we have learned we are always willing to try things, and just with the changes, you never know, what direction is up sometimes, especially with everything we've gone through in the past couple of years. So, until we try it, we're not going to know if it works for us or not. So that's just the way we've handled it here the past several years.
Good. All right. Well, thank you both for joining us. We appreciate you coming on and sharing your thoughts, and I hope you have a great week.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.